Why did small rebellions force Scandinavian monarchs to rethink power? Imagine a kingdom where the king or queen rules with almost no checks, thinking their word is law. Now picture small groups of common people rising up against this authority. What made these tiny rebellions so powerful that they changed how Scandinavian monarchs ruled? That's what we're about to find out. Back in the late medieval and early modern times, Scandinavian countries like Denmark, Sweden, and Norway had pretty loose control over their territories. Local nobles and peasants had a lot of freedom, and the kings had to work hard to keep everyone in line. But as monarchs tried to tighten their grip through new taxes, laws, and religious reforms, resistance started to grow. These rebellions weren't big armies, but they were enough to make kings realize their power wasn't absolute. One example is the Danish peasants' revolt in the 1430s. Peasants were unhappy with heavy feudal taxes and the officials appointed by the king. They fought back by destroying documents and even fighting armed battles. This showed that peasants could organize and challenge royal authority directly. The revolt made the king think twice about how he enforced his rules. In Sweden, the Dalecarlian rebellions in the 1520s and 1530s were driven by economic struggles after wars and trade restrictions. The peasants opposed foreign officials sent by the king and supported local leaders instead. These uprisings proved that the king's control was limited and that he had to consider local interests to keep peace. Another important event was the Engelbrecht Rebellion in the 1430s. Miners and peasants united against corrupt officials, demanding justice. Their success in forcing reforms and gathering representatives from different social groups showed that people wanted a say in how they were governed. It made monarchs see that ignoring popular grievances could threaten their rule. So, how did these small rebellions change the way Scandinavian kings ruled? First, they learned that they needed local support. Alienating peasants and regional leaders could lead to unrest. Second, they started adjusting taxes and laws to reduce opposition. Third, they included representatives from different social groups in decision-making, like early forms of councils or assemblies. Fourth, they moderated religious reforms to avoid sparking widespread anger. And finally, they realized that a mix of negotiation, legal changes, and sometimes force was better than just using armies to crush uprisings. These rebellions weren't just protests. They were early signs that ordinary people wanted a voice. They pushed monarchs to move away from strict top-down rule toward more balanced governance. This shift helped shape the formation of nation-states in Scandinavia, where rulers had to manage diverse interests to stay in power. It was a turning point that showed even small groups could influence the course of history.